Hello, hello, people! Welcome to the blank space, where we
Hello.
just fill shit in.
Hello. He's the one who has
Hey,
energy today.
darn straight I have energy. I feel like I am alive and full of life.
I'm at least alive. Full of
Hey,
life. I mean, are you one of those like glass half full guys or glass half empty guys? Because I mean, if I'm a glass of water, I'm like, if I'm a glass of happiness, I'm like, it's somewhere around there.
I'm more of a guy that's like, you know what? That could be half full, but it could also be half empty. I'm gonna appreciate for the state it's in.
My question is just, why can't I fill up the cup with more water? Tap water is not expensive.
It's not expensive, but sometimes you shouldn't drink it, because, sometimes city water is just nasty.
You see, I don't know about that. I think the water's fine. I think the water's
Where,
fine.
where you live, maybe. You don't drink water from my town. You get that stuff filtered. Like that was like the first thing we were told when we moved in. Like, don't drink out of the tap.
that I just want to imagine how long you've been there, just like when you moved in as a wee toddler, like little tiny baby Anthony was like, Daddy, can I have some water? And he's like, sure, son, here, have some, here, have a bottle. And you're like, no, out of the tap. And he's like, we don't go there. We never go there.
I mean, honestly, that's not too wrong. Except, I really didn't have that much of a will to like, drink out of the tap or do anything really. I kind of just played GameCube.
I mean, same. We were all there at some point in our life of just,
Honestly, I probably couldn't have eaten for like a day or two, and I probably would have been okay.
what was your choice of GameCube game?
Medal of Honor, actually, Rising Sun. That was my game.
Okay, that's if you gave me 10 guesses of a game Anthony would play a ton on the GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
That should be up there, but I don't think I'd get it.
Okay, that's fine. That's okay. How about for you?
uh, Jeez. There's the old standbys like Smash Brothers and Animal Crossing,
Mm-hmm.
but there's
Games I
one.
never played. Okay.
Wait, have you never played Smash Brothers?
I mean, I've played Smash Brothers in high school.
We're fixing this. We're fixing this
I mean, I've played
eventually.
it like I've played it at least like one or two times.
Okay, all right. I thought you were telling me like you have the number of times you. Okay, tell me this: the number of times you have played Smash Brothers. Can you count it on one hand?
I can count it on two hands.
Boy, you got some learning to do. You
I mean,
have some learning to do.
I thought we were just talking about games we played when we were a kid, and those were just games I did not have.
Oh, okay, okay. I got what you mean now.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was going to say was that the
Mm-hmm.
game I played more than anything was a game called Phantasy Star Online. It was like
Uh
an
huh.
action RPG where you kind of played this like magical cyberpunky kind of person, kind of guy, and you
Mm-hmm.
just went around this, for lack of a better term, corridors
Okay.
and shot enemies. But
It was like an early MMO, right?
yeah, but I never played the online part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just played a ton of this game. I'm like, wow, this game is really hard, but like everyone loves this game, so I must be. I just gotta get good at this game. And what I didn't realize was this game was designed for multiple people to be playing at the same time, and not just my lonely like ass just sitting there like, man, these zones are really hard. Like, God, like how do I beat this boss? This boss is like really tough. It'd be the equivalent of playing World of Warcraft solo by
Mm-hmm.
yourself. It's like the game wasn't really meant for this to happen, but
I got you. I got you. You know, it's
yeah.
kind of funny. I only know that game because I had a cousin, right, who absolutely was in love with the Dreamcast, right?
Mm,
For whatever reason, it was just like his system, and he played it a lot. Actually, he pretty much did what you did, and I
like
was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
like he played that game on the Dreamcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm, cool. I was gonna say I know it was on other systems, but the way I played it was on GameCube. And
Okay.
it's a pretty solid game, pretty fun.
Sweet, sweet.
Mm.
Yeah, old games that don't really work as they're supposed to anymore.
If I bust out a GameCube, it can happen. I'm almost positive any online server for that game has been shut down for a while now. Being 3 generations back at this point, I can't
Yeah,
imagine it's still alive.
there's probably somebody that has their own personal server set up somewhere.
Do you, do you think that you could still play Medal of Honor online today?
No, because I didn't know there was online for it.
I feel
I
like
mean,
there
when I
was.
when I played Medal of Honor, I'm going to have to preface this. I fought a lot of bots for a lot of hours.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's the thing. Like that's the thing about that game and the early Battlefields is like you can just play like the bot mode forever. Just kind of keep doing that.
Yeah, that's for sure. I literally did that for like a year. Like just played that game. Like I'm not proud of myself. But actually, no. In all fairness, I did it with a friend, so it wasn't that bad. We sat side by side. We just murdered a lot of rickshaws.
Kapoopers.
Yes,
There-
those.
So there was multiplayer for this game.
Okay.
Was there online multiplayer? That's my question.
There are things that matter. There are things that don't matter.
It probably
It's a
does.
case of rah.
But now you just piqued my interest at this point. But reg- sorry, that cough was a long time coming. So I heard some interesting stuff happened to you over the weekend.
Yeah, I did have a little bit of fun.
Oh, so you went up to Chuck E. Cheese.
Right, Chuck E. Cheese. That was a ton of no. I learned that all towing services are not the same.
Huh.
My,
You're gonna have
yeah.
to explain.
All right, yeah, it's kind of hard to just say it just there, but yeah. Apparently, a service popularly known as a triple letter, we can say triple D, for our purposes today.
I'm pretty sure that was a sequel to a Piranha movie, but go on.
Yes, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much had my car break down in a fast food, parking lot, and waited for a couple of hours to then have the service canceled on me, and then not canceled on me. The tow truck eventually just showed up and was like, "Hey, I'm here for you," and he came. That was a good story, actually. 10 out of 10. I thought I had more there.
Huh. So wait. I'm a little confused. So as you called up AAA and you said,
Yes.
"Yo, your brother's broke down here. I need some help," and
Yep.
they were like, "Yo, fam, we got you."
Yep.
And then like a
He
little
was a
while
really
later.
nice Indian man, by the way.
Oh, okay. Like the tow
Mhm.
truck driver guy.
No. The guy that I called. He was a
Oh.
very nice Indian man.
Okay. So he was like, "I got you, fam," and then
Uh-huh.
a little while later, you get a call and say, "We don't got you, fam." And
Oh no, no,
then-
no. I call. Actually, I'm sorry. I should elaborate on this. I called him because it was 2 hours later, and like a good 30 minutes past the estimated time for him to show up, and yeah, and they could not reach their tow guys. So I was just saying, hey, just cancel this stuff. I'll just get a ride, to work or whatever, kind of deal, right? And then my friend shows up. He eats a little bit of this fast food place, and a tow truck just shows up, like, "Hey, we got you."
All right.
And that's just kind of how it went. Everybody was confused. Nobody was exactly sure what was going on, but my car did get towed, so that was nice. To the mechanic, by the way. I feel like I should point that out.
Huh. I mean, I would be very confused as well. Like that, you're not alone in this. This is certainly something that's just.
I mean,
like,
I wasn't charged for it, so it was just more of just like, man, they don't have their stuff together.
to be fair, that has happened to me before as well. So
Mhm.
I've actually got two stories. You reminded me of another story on top of a story I was just going to tell in general.
Okay.
So number one was a while back. An ex of mine, we went to DC
Okay.
for basically the weekend to go see the cherry blossoms. I had a good time down there. On the way back, I drop
Okay.
her off at her house, and as I'm driving back home, literally leaving her development, I feel my tire just hit the ground. Like, I feel it just on the ground. And I'm like, oh god, how long was I driving on this for? I don't remember how long this has been a thing for. So I'm sitting
Ah.
there like, okay, well, let me pull over and find out what happened. I text her, let her know I'm okay and what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I call up a triple lettered company,
Uh huh.
and I basically tell them like, hey, I've got a really bad flat tire, and I don't know how to put on a donut. I don't know how to put on like the spare tire. I don't even know
Oh.
if I have the right tools for it.
Oh, that's adorable, Drew.
This is where my car ignorance comes out. Where it's just I have no idea how to put. Well, okay, now I know how to do it.
I'm
My
proud of you.
my
You got
ability
you got
to
knowledge.
my ability to might be lacking,
I
but
got you.
that's beside the point. So
You know what that kind of reminds me of? When I knew I had a shit car. This is before the car I have now, by the way. It was a Pontiac Sunbird, and I absolutely love this car. Right? I mean, it's a Sunbird, so it's absolute shit. Right? But I knew it was a crap car when I was like driving down the road, right? And I look to my right, and I see a little plastic thing just coming up next to me, just rolling down. And then I
oh
realized, huh, that's my hubcap.
oh oh
Oh, that was when I knew I had a true piece of shit.
mm, that's it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. My story just kind of ends flatly though. I call up the tow truck agency. They're like, "Okay, we'll be out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be out eventually." And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay." They gave me a time. I don't remember how long it was, but I
Mm-hmm.
remember eventually having to wait an hour and a half for someone to show up.
That's
Um,
about standard fare.
Now I didn't mind this because at the time I had Monster Hunter, so I sat there
Oh,
and
okay.
hunted a bunch of monsters, which are not short fights. So I just sat there and fought a couple of them, and I'm like, "Huh? Oh, okay, he's here." after like 3 fights, I was like, "Oh, cool. All right." Um. So what?
I bought a pillow at Walmart while I was waiting, so I guess that's a thing. I
I
was
mean,
lucky there was like a giant store next to me, so
hey, you had something to do.
yeah, I got a pillow. My bed's a lot more comfy now, actually.
Huh. I mean, beds are comfier with pillows than
You know what?
without.
Some say that's a fact. Others say that's a fact.
Some say it's alternative facts, but we won't go there.
Hey, hey, you. I
hey,
see what you
hey,
do.
hey, hey, hey. Um. Well, that actually brings up my big story of car. I guess you could call it car troubles.
Okay.
Um. Pretty much how I lost my first car.
Ooh, I got one of these too.
So I'll condense a long story down to a
Mm-hmm.
short story.
Okay.
So I've got a friend who lives out in Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and at the time she lived around what's Wilkes-Barre, but it's it's pretty much if you go past Philly
Okay.
and then you drive for another hour and a half.
So this is from Jersey, going to Philly, and then somewhere in Appalachia.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
it's
All
this
right.
tiny coal mining town out of nowhere. But
Ah, so it's sad and depressed. Gotcha.
pretty much. But I get out there. I visit her. We hang out. We have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're driving back, um, as we're driving back, we make the turn into her town. Her town basically is you go over a hill, and then over the hill there is a town behind it. And the only way really into town is through this like road that goes over a hill. So I'm turning into here, and before I turn, there's a lady who turns before me onto this road.
Okay.
So she turns on, and then I pretty much follow her on. She roars ahead, so I don't really see what happens to her.
Okay.
She goes on up ahead, and on her end, what she does is she realizes, oh, I went the wrong way. I went the wrong way. So she decides to
Ah.
go into a driveway and do a K turn out of it. Now, she didn't really see me coming up behind her, so she backs up to me. She backs into me on this hill, pretty much at like full speed.
Oh,
Yeah. So that happens.
I
I,
mean, did you die?
I mean, I'd like to think I died a little bit that day, but that's a different story.
Okay.
But, but she hits me. We just kind of brace because we're like, oh god, I'd never been in a really big car accident at this point. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I'm just gonna hold on, hope everything's okay.
Mm.
And then after she's done backing up, she realizes what she's done, but decides not to deal with the consequences. She drives off down the road really quickly.
I
Now,
take it you didn't get any plates or nothing like that.
well, here's where it gets interesting. She drives about like 200, 300 feet down the road,
Okay.
stops, gets out, and walks back to me to see if we're okay.
That's a weird choice of things to do.
Yeah, I think so. So as she's walking back, she starts to get closer. I can smell the alcohol on her. That's always a fun start to it. The second fun start is when she tells me she doesn't have any insurance.
Ah.
Yeah, this story just continues to go down from there. I'm just gonna start
All
hitting.
right.
I'm just gonna start hitting highlights from here. So
Okay, this sounds like it's like, all right, this is pretty bad. Okay, well, maybe at least you can get the insurance to oh, no, no, no.
No,
Okay,
no,
so
no, no, no.
this is going to keep going south, isn't it?
oh, it is.
All right.
So
Let's hit Florida.
hitting bullet points here. I ask for her name and number, which she gives me. She has every intention at this point of paying me for the damage. Like she's like, I'm so
Okay.
sorry. I will gladly pay for your insurance. Gladly pay for anything your car has to get done to get this right. I'm like, okay, cool. That makes my life easy. So I go. We drive back to my friend's place, and I basically like I don't know if I handled that correctly, but we'll find out. So that night I try and call the police department because where we were when the crash happened, there was no service. So
Oh,
I
I was
call-
about to say you made a mistake, and no, you didn't have an option.
no, I
All right.
didn't.
Okay.
So I called up the police department. I get an answering machine.
Oh,
I call
That's-
up the state police department. They direct me to the local police department where I got the answering machine.
so wait, let me understand this, right?
Yes.
You dialed 911, and you got an answering machine.
Oh no. So I called 911 originally. They
Okay.
gave me the number of the local police because that's their jurisdiction. So I called the local police. The local
Well,
police.
hold up. That's not. Wait, I thought it was 911's job to connect you to that.
So here's where it gets well, okay. So I believe the reason that they gave me the number was because they couldn't connect me. because answering machine. However
That's
it was,
interesting.
however it was, don't worry, I'm getting to another point in a moment. So I called
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just baffled by what's going on here.
Oh, it
Damn.
gets better.
Okay.
It gets
All right,
better.
Keep going.
If you okay, Anthony, if you have the editing capability, the entire time I'm telling this story, can you bring up just like trash dove and just slowly zoom in on his face as I'm telling this story? I feel like
no,
that's
that's
just
too much
general.
effort.
Okay, all right then. I tried.
I can give you cowbell.
Thanks, count me back in. So I call the local police department. They tell me, well, that's our answering machine. I call the State Department. The State Department says it's not their jurisdiction. You have to call the local one. So I'm like, okay, it's late. I'm going to go to bed. So I go to bed. Then I get up the next morning. I call my insurance company and tell them what happened. And they're like, okay, we'll take the information down. We'll see what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
I call up the local police department. Somebody answers. Thank Christ. They tell me because I drove away from the scene of the accident, they can't help.
That's
Yeah, they tell me that the only way that they can help is if I come into the station to fill out a form talking about like me saying I drove away from the scene of an accident. Here's the details. So I'm like, oh great, this is just one more thing. So I try. So next, I call up a local mechanic and see if they're available to look at my car, because my car kind of just has this nice dent in the front of it.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I just want to make sure this is safe to drive. And then after I'm done calling them, I call up the lady to give her an update on what's happening. This number has been disconnected.
All right. That sounds about right.
It gets worse. I take it to the mechanic. The mechanic tells me this car is not safe to drive. The way she hit me actually dented my car into my engine.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's all sorts of awful.
You're starting to see the picture of why I lost
I'm
this
starting
car.
to see this is an escalating level of being screwed. Like, this is interesting at this point. Like, I got popcorn.
Do you?
I mean, no, but like figurative popcorn. I got that.
Yo, share. Come on, give me some popcorn.
Yeah, here you go, man. I just
Oh,
handed it through the internet.
Thank you. This actually looks awful. I don't know what the internet did to it, but this looks awful.
I mean, man, it's just all tubes, so it couldn't have been good.
So I take it to the mechanic. The mechanic tells me it's not safe to drive this.
Okay.
I think to myself, how am I going to get home? I am 2 hours from home right now. I called my parents and basically tell them everything that's happened at this point, and they're also trying to figure out what to do about this.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually I'm like, I need to get home. How am I going to get home? So eventually we come to the conclusion that I need to take a Greyhound back home and just abandon my car in Pennsylvania.
All right.
It was fun. It was a fun experience.
Did you at least get scrap value on the car?
So what eventually ended up happening, it did kind of work out.
Okay.
It's only because my car insurance are just straight ballers, and my friend is just a pure angel. So basically, I told her family and her, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to abandon this car here. I've already called like the local scrapyard to come take it, and they'll take it whenever they can. And then I called up my insurance and told them everything that's happened. And basically, I just got over the phone. I just got a very soft oh. So I eventually take a Greyhound home. Sorry. I take a Greyhound home. I eventually find out the car was scrapped. The car was taken to a scrapyard. They paid my friend's family like $50 for holding it, something like that. And my car insurance company called up and said, "Hey, sorry about everything that happened. Here's the face value of the car from what we could tell about it. Here's just the money for it. Don't even worry about it." And I'm like, you are nice people. You are very nice people.
That wasn't even a fight. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they knew how screwed I was at that point. They were just like, yeah, you got nothing. Here.
So wait. So did you not even get any money from the scrapyard, or?
Oh, that's the thing. When they took it to the scrapyard, they gave my friend's family the $50, and that was basically just like me saying to her family, like, thank you for holding the car in front of your house.
But you got $50 is what I'm asking.
Well, no, they did, because they held my car in front of their house for like however long.
What I'm saying is that sounds incredibly cheap.
Well, it's a scrapyard.
Well, yeah, but like I at least see when my Pontiac Sunbird, right? When that went smoking into the night,
I just imagine you down the highway. It was literally on fire, and it was just you just called him scrapyard.
Well,
hey,
okay, so let's give you a real thing that happened here, right? I was actually on my way to my then girlfriend's house, right? At the time, and the car just started bellowing smoke, right?
Oh.
and I had to pull it aside on the side of the road. Um, Apparently the engine had cracked or something along those lines, right?
Hmm.
And ended up having to drive it all the way down to the scrapyard because fixing it was just the car itself was worth like $500, $600 resale value, and the job would have been something along like 1,000 or something to even fix it. So it was not worth it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just me and my pop driving down, him in his van, one of us in the van, one of us in the Pontiac Sunbird at the time, right? And we're just driving that thing down the highway with white smoke bellowing out of the engine block.
Jesus.
And pretty much pulling into the scrapyard as I hand over my keys. That's how my car died.
That's what I imagine pretty much what my car was like. Although the thing was, smoke wasn't coming out of it. Honestly, it looked fine to drive, but at the same time, there was a big piece of metal sticking into the engine. So
okay, yeah, mine could have been a smoke screen for like a for a bunch of troops going across an open field kind of deal.
maybe that's where it is these days. It's somewhere over in the Middle East with our troops deploying a smoke bomb wherever needed. They just aerial drop the car into the battlefield. It's like, get out of there, tactical retreat. It just sits on the battlefield.
That sounds about right in my book.
Yeah. So that's
I'll miss that Pontiac.
yeah.
And you'll miss yours.
I'll miss my Kia. That was a good car.
Oh, it was a Kia. All right, that's not so bad.
Wow. All right. Wow. Thanks for having so much sympathy.
I mean, it was a Kia. What do you want me to say?
I liked that car. It was a nice car.
Hey.
Also, I found out what being on a Greyhound is like for 2.5 hours. Never do that.
I mean, you had Monster Hunter, right?
I actually had Super Mario 3D Land, which was a great time sink. I actually almost beat that game on the trip. Like, that's how long I was there. I was just like, I'm not going to talk to anyone on this bus. So you know what? I'll just pull this out.
Good job, Drew.
Yeah.
Being the best antisocial man we know.
I mean, you should have seen those people on that Greyhound. That's beside the point. I have something to raise our spirits a little bit because that was just depressing story corner for a good long while there actually. So
By my count, at least 10 minutes, no more than 30.
So, how do you feel about conventions?
I feel like they are both a good thing and an annoying thing.
So, what's annoying about conventions?
Well, mostly trying to get to the convention. Getting to the convention and just getting everything set up is pretty bad in its own right. And then just dealing with the crowds. Crowds is the close number 2.
So I've got no solution for solving crowds, but I do have the travel.
Okay.
So I'm gonna act like it's not written in the show notes and ask you: have you heard of PAX Unplugged?
I have never heard of this thing at all.
What? Man, it's crazy. All right. So you're aware of PAX, though, correct?
It's the big gaming convention, right?
Yeah, it does like big games and indies and all kinds video games primarily.
So PAX Unplugged is like that, except all the consoles are unplugged.
Yes, it is actually we sit in the dark. There's just no lights on.
Oh wait, dude. Then do you play board games?
Yes, it is an entire gaming convention for tabletop and board games.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even look that up. I just took stabs in the dark.
Anthony,
Yes?
right now, where are you feeling on a 0 to 10 scale of going to a tabletop and board game convention?
Actually, I'm very interested in doing something like that. Like,
Okay.
I'd be like on a solid 7 out of 10.
I can raise that to an 8 or a 9 right now.
All right, try and sell me.
It's going to be in Philly.
Well, look at you! Look at you, guy! You got that knowledge, throwing those bombs.
Oh man,
Man, so many knowledge bombs going off over here, man. It's like ISIS.
it's oh.
Well, at
Way,
least the
way to
bomb
bring
part.
this back down. Come on, man. I brought this up to be a good thing. Yeah. So this is going to be in the Pennsylvania Convention Center in Philly in November. And this
Wait,
is the
wait. Are we sponsored?
I wish.
Okay,
I would
I was
go-
just checking. So
I'm
tell me
definitely
more
not
about
taking
this
any
thing.
money. I'm definitely not taking any money. It's nothing.
Well, I'll take money.
But yeah, so it's over in Philadelphia. It's in November.
Okay.
And this is the first year they're doing it. And the thing I've always said is that I like to go to conventions, but the thing is for me is that I hate waiting a really long time to see a panel or to see like a certain like celebrity there or anything like that.
Hold up, I get where you're going with this already.
Okay.
All right. So, since we now have a podcast, we can go as press. Genius.
Yes.
Genius.
Free tickets.
Was that where you...
Well, I wasn't going there, but I think if we held a panel there, I think they would kick us out. They'd be like, "No one showed up to your panel."
I
No,
mean,
I'm sorry. One person showed up to your panel.
Okay, hold up. That means
My
we need
mom.
we need a topic about board games now. Next week we're gonna do D&D. Promise.
Yo. Board games and tabletop in general. Like we could just talk about D&D, or we could talk about D&D and board games in general.
Okay, you're right. We can go there. We can definitely go there.
I like it. But
We can have the most mediocre. Yeah, I can
Mediocre.
speak.
my only concern with this is
Okay.
planning around it. Not
All right.
like an individual group going. I mean like how are you going to show up and just start playing a game? Like, is
I
everyone going to
mean-
have to learn the rules? Are we going to be sitting for a while doing that? Are there people running the games? Or
You know what I feel like we can do? I feel like what could happen, right, is we develop an app, right? Okay. Where it just randomly picks people for it to be their turn, and we only have like 2 players or 4 players or how many, and just random people are chosen at a time to take an action.
Well, I think random people being chosen for this might not be the best course of action, but
I didn't say it was going to be the best. I just said it could work. Well, okay, that's a tenuous term.
well, one day I'll mention to you about making a convention, and I'll let you do the planning. We'll see how that goes.
All right, we'll just do the biggest game in Ninja or something stupid like that.
What? Wait, hold on. What is the world record for Ninja right now?
I got research to do. You talk about your topic.
Hold on. Ninja World
Hey,
Records.
Hold up. One of us has to stall for time. Both of us can't look this up.
All right. So, long story short is, I think this is a great idea for a gaming convention because.
Okay. Got the knowledge. It was a lot quicker than I thought it would be. Okay, actually, it's held by Philip DeFranco.
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
by
That was just.
554 people.
I think.
Yep.
I think I know enough people to break that. Come on now.
I mean, if we combined our Facebook friends, you would at least have probably 400, and I can add 3.
403. Got it. But yeah, long story short is, I think this is gonna be a really cool thing. I mean, I love the idea of bringing people together for tabletop board game stuff, because bringing people over video games, it sort of becomes like, oh well, I mean, I'm not good at this certain game, so I won't play this or something like that. No, there's just like everyone gets around and plays games that either they know or don't know, but everyone just has a good time around it.
I feel like that's true to a certain extent, but certain games, you learn that that's not true with, though.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's the thing.
I mean, nobody is friends after Monopoly.
Well, hopefully Monopoly's not there. Monopoly's not a good game.
And if you have that one friend that's like super good at Catan, like you just don't want to play anymore.
You mean someone? You mean someone who's super charismatic who just like completely gets the game? Me?
And fuck you too, Drew.
What? I can just say I'm good at Catan. That's all. But I'm super interested in going to this. So we'll have to talk about it when it comes a little closer. Maybe if we are both interested in going,
this
we
is
can talk
something
about
that I definitely want this in my life. This is something that I want to be a thing, and I will do everything within my power to make it happen.
Good.
So you have convinced me to a full 10, because you have literally knocked out half the reasons why I hate conventions.
Half of the reason travel. I mean, that's certainly
I mean,
a good
I don't
reason.
need a room, and I don't need really a car. I can take public transit.
I mean, just a speed line every day. Hold on. Where's the hold on, let me try that again. Where's the convention center? And can I just take a speed line over? Probably.
I mean, yeah, actually, you can. It's actually pretty good that way.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, no, it's perfect. It's right there. All right, cool.
That was an interesting voice, by the way. Like, what was that? Was that like your inner caveman coming out? All right, well, I definitely feel creeped out. I need an adult.
I do too.
Yay!
But moving swiftly along from my caveman voice,
Yeah.
you had a thing you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to steer us into the next thing. So, what is it? So, you know how, like, there's a bunch of games that go on, like, early access, right? And, like, they're, like, alphas, betas, deltas, whatever the hell they are.
Mm-hmm. Tango
Right.
Foxtrots.
Yep. You know, like, they're being worked on, and they still get released anyway as, you know, like, early versions, you know, to have a game completed as, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know about this thing called Humble Bundle, right?
Yes,
You're
I'm a big fan.
Big fan of it, right? So how would you describe Humble Bundle?
So the idea behind Humble Bundle is basically they basically put up a big group of games up on their website, and depending on what you pay, you get a certain amount of those games. Now it's not like you buy each game individually for like $1, $2, $5. You pay a certain amount, you get these games. Now, for example, there's a Star Wars bundle going on currently. There's
Okay.
a Star Wars video game bundle going on right now. And essentially, if you spend at least $1, you'll receive 4 Star Wars games altogether.
Okay.
And then the idea from there is if you spend more, you'll get more games included. So this one's a little high, but if you pay a little over $11, you'll also get 5 more Star Wars games. Actually, 6 more Star Wars games included in this one,
Well, that's a pretty good deal.
including the original ones as well. And the good thing about it is that the more you pay, the more it actually includes game-wise. And it's also for charity as well. The Humble Bundle usually supports certain charities for certain bundles. Like for the Star Wars one, they're covering UNICEF,
Okay.
more or less, for world funds and all that.
But you would typically say that these games that are usually on here are ones that have been out for a while, right?
Yeah, usually you don't see super new games, but
Like these are ones that have been out and like they've had sales before and all that kind of stuff, right?
yeah, you'd see games that have been out for a little while. I wouldn't say super old. I wouldn't say like you're gonna see something from the '90s in here, although a lot of these Star Wars games are from the '90s. But you'll see older games. You won't see the newest and hottest.
Yeah. So now, what does it tell you when you see a game that's in early access still? That is normally like $50 on its store page, and it suddenly goes on the Humble Bundle before it's even released. What do you think that says about that game? Because to me, right, that tells me that that game is about to die. Right? Because that means it is severely discounting itself It's not even out of early access yet. Second of all, it's an MMO, all right. Well, at least supposed to be. I'm an MMO kind
I
of
feel
deal.
like you're talking about a specific game here.
I am talking about a specific game. It's the Warhammer 40K Eternal Crusade. Was supposed to be this awesome shooter, planet sides style game, right?
MMO.
Where yeah, right?
Mhm.
And it's already been on Humble Bundle for like $12. Granted, along with a bunch of other games, but that's pretty low to price itself when it hasn't even gotten out of early access yet. Well, the alpha or beta stage or whatever pre-release stage it's in.
Hmm.
To me, that does not say good things about the game. You know?
Well,
What do you feel about that?
it really depends on the game's reputation at the current moment
Mm-hmm.
and how heavily it's discounted. Now, I think certainly for the game you mentioned, Warhammer Eternal Crusade, that might be a good indication of it, because if you check the general reputation of the
Reviews.
game, yeah, general reviews, general reputation, things aren't looking good for that game right now. People are not
Yeah.
happy with it. So being on
Mm-hmm.
Humble Bundle certainly is a bad, it's a bad sign of the game. But I wouldn't argue it's a terrible thing.
Okay.
So the reason I think that being on Humble Bundle is not necessarily a bad thing is because all you're doing with Humble Bundle is your game has already been out for a little bit. It's already past the point of its initial full price day one sales. And you're probably seeing a drop. All games see a drop eventually. Like no game stays consistently top of the charts for sales.
Okay.
So when you look at something like a Humble Bundle picking it up, this is kind of its second wind for a game sometimes. I'm going to throw that big old
Okay.
asterisk and say sometimes on it. So, for example, there's been bundles in the past. I'm going to have to look up specific examples. But I've picked up before of games that I've been super into, I've been super interested in. But obviously, it wasn't the end of its life. It wasn't sitting there saying like, "Oh yeah, this is the end of it. There's no more."
Okay.
I'm trying to find an exact example. Ba, 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 ba.
Okay. So basically, you're basically saying that this may be actually something that can revitalize it,
Yeah.
kind
Okay.
of deal. Like this will be a stab in the arm, and like, hey, more people come in, kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, there was a bundle recently called the Overwhelmingly Positive Bundle.
Okay.
Basically, it was games that are very well reviewed,
Okay.
very well reviewed. Like people, it's in like the 90% and above kind of category. People love these games. So I picked up a game. I picked up the cheapest bundle for a game called Pony Island.
Okay.
Now, Pony Island being on that bundle was not by any means a bad sign. It's on a bundle called Overwhelmingly Positive, for Christ's sake.
Okay.
It's basically saying it's basically been a year since Pony Island released. It's been one full year, and at that point, game sales have slowed down to the point where people aren't picking it up daily. People are picking it up every once in a while, and especially when it's on sale. But for the most part, people are done buying it. But a bundle brings new life to it where new people can pick it up and play it and maybe tell their friend and say, "Hey, I picked up this bundle that had this game called Pony Island, and have you heard of it?" "No, I haven't."
Well, I can see what you're saying there, and I would agree with that. But I feel like for certain games that's just not true. Pony Island also was only $5. Like that was a much cheaper game than this $50 like piece that we were talking about here. Like I feel like it definitely is very determined on like what the original price point for the game was and where it is in its stage of life, right?
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
saying specifically, like if a game is like not even fully released yet, right, and it's on the Humble Bundle store, or like any other bundle deal kind of thing, right? That's usually a pretty bad sign. Like, would you disagree with that, or?
Again, it's really gonna come down to reputation and how much they're discounting it. Like for instance, For Honor
Okay.
just came out. Like
Okay.
that game we talked about on the last podcast just came
Okay.
out
For Glory, gotcha.
for Glory and Empire and Honor,
Yep.
but
Yep.
no Honor. If that game suddenly showed up on a Humble Bundle for $10, and this is a $60 game,
Uh huh.
that might turn a few heads. That might have a few people say like, what? Why is it so cheap? What
Yeah,
happened?
I would instantly think something really wrong, like nobody was buying it.
Um, well, I would always think of it as from a terms of a consumer. I would think, oh my god, $10 For Honor, buy, done, done, done. Especially since I already
Well,
enjoyed the
yeah,
game. But
yeah.
if it was a game I'd never heard of, yeah, that's a good that's a good point. If it's a game I'd never heard of and it's $60
Mhm.
discounted down to 5, certainly I'll be like, oh, okay, let's look at maybe why this happened.
Mhm.
So I agree with you on some level where it is something to look into, but also if it's a game that caught your attention,
Mhm.
you probably already know about it to begin with.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, if For Honor went on a steep discount because I don't know the developer pissed off a bunch of their fans and people stopped playing the game or something like that,
Mhm.
I I would I have an interest in playing the game, and I have no background or no animosity towards the developer at this point.
Mhm.
I'd probably pick it up.
Okay. That's fair.
If it was something like the situation you're talking about where Eternal Crusade goes on a steep sale, and I look at
Mhm.
that, if I was interested in the game, depending how willing I was, I might actually like pick it up. Depending how willing I was to research it, like why it was such a steep discount.
Cuz I mean just seeing something just such a stark price difference in a game like that just feels like something is inherently wrong with what's going on, you know? I
Hmm.
mean, I usually don't see things like that on the Humble Bundle. It was just something that was just it just kind of surprised me. Like normally what I see is like much older games or things that have been out for a long time, you know. Basically things that have been retired from like, you know, the usual sales cycle and stuff like that, you know? I
Yeah,
don't typically see things that are like, you know, still in the development phase. It just kind of surprised me. And it makes me wonder if it's something they're going to be doing more of in the future. Like we'll see some more releases of more still in progress games on Humble Bundle, or is that a good thing, or is that a bad thing, or?
well, if you're talking about specifically early access games going on sale on Humble Bundle or Steam or anything like that, like if the Steam sale started and all of a sudden a game was just like steeply discounted on the Steam sale and it was still really popular and brand new, I would
Mm-hmm.
certainly like turn my head a little bit, be like, okay, what happened here?
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the end of the day, it's also going to come down to if you had an interest in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had,
Because
I'm guessing you had an interest in Eternal Crusade.
oh, I had a lot of interest. I love the Warhammer 40K stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like it just kind of shows to me that like you know they don't have their stuff together. Like they're desperate for money. What that says to me, that the development studio it does not have enough to stay afloat, so they're already discounting before you know the thing's even released. To me, that's just such a weird thing to do.
Yeah,
Like if you're a healthy company, right? There's no reason why you should be doing that. You know?
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. I I think there's plenty of reason to definitely discount your game after release.
Well, I'm talking before release.
Oh, before you're still talking about early access. My bad, my bad.
Yes, yes.
Um, well, here it gets into the interesting point of like what is early access anymore, and what do we count as a game in early access? See, my thing would be is that a lot of games I see in early access these days are
Mm-hmm.
certainly games that are just done. Like they're still being updated, possibly. They're still being updated, but for the most part, they're a game. They're not in alpha or beta like they say. They're a game that is playable and done. So
Mm-hmm.
sitting in early access isn't an excuse for them to say, "Oh, we're not done, so we can't discount it." They can discount it whenever they want, but I see that early access tag as a
As basically saying we're not ready yet,
well, they think
but we don't want to be judged.
yeah,
Basically.
they don't want to be judged the same way as fully released games. And
Mm-hmm.
heavily discounting it, I guess possibly could be a bigger. Hmm,
I mean,
it could be a big indicator of something, and it certainly holds a little bit more like weight behind it if that game goes on sale. But it's
mhm.
still there's still a good reason for early access games to go on sale.
I don't know. I feel like a company should have their stuff together before like it gets to that point. You shouldn't be selling a product that I really don't like the idea of early access sales. I
Hmm.
feel like if you're going to be selling a product, it should be complete, or at least be like within the throes of like coming out, like soon, kind of deal.
Well, how about this? One of the most popular games to ever come out in early access
Mm-hmm.
was Minecraft.
Okay.
That game was in early access for a very long time. For the most part, during its biggest popularity spike, it was in
Okay.
early access. Not like a Steam early access, but like a beta. Like they were still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the kinks still need to be worked out. When that game was around, that game went on a couple of sales. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
steep sales, mind you. It was not like down to $2, but it went on a couple of sales.
But
I
I also feel like Minecraft was a game, right? That was functionally complete,
Right,
right?
but here's where we get into that argument that I was trying to make was that
Okay.
is what do we count as a game being done? Because I count almost all early access games released on Steam as being done in some way, shape, or form.
I could agree with that. I mean, like, that's what I would consider it as. Like, as soon as you are selling it for money, that's when it should be considered a product, right? Like, that's the face value you should be selling it for, kind of deal. Or the promise of that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, when you start actually selling it for money,
Mm
that is certainly a big indicator of like we're ready to be judged by the public. Now, obviously, you
hmm.
can tell people like I'm not done, like there's plenty to do, and that has some merit. It's not like you're saying like I'm in early access and everyone's like, all right, whatever. No, when you say you're in early access, you're saying to the world, you're saying like this is still a work in progress.
Mm hmm.
But most of the time when these games are released, they have enough features to be called a game.
Mm hmm. I feel like that's the key thing is that once you've put yourself out there, you should at least have the key things that are going to be behind your game,
Hmm.
right? Like if you don't have that, it's too early to put your game out there kind of deal.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
or at
but
least have like enough of the here's the thing, right? Your game's only ever going to get one real release, right?
hmm
And I feel like wasting that but when your game is not going to be fully complete is a bad idea simply because it's going to sap a lot of potential from it.
yeah, more or less because once you release, that's your day. Like people are gonna play it, people are gonna realize it. There really isn't a way to tell people like, oh, we've released, but we're not ready yet, so don't play it. Don't
Hmm.
play it. It's
Like
like
there's
no,
a
it's buyable. You're able to
mhm.
play it.
Like there's other games that have come out early, right? But they're still good to play, like Don't Starve, right? Like that was another game that came out early, but it had a very functional base game that it came out with that was good in its own right. They just still wanted to do more with it.
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the same thing with Minecraft, right? It had a good base game that was fine on its own. That they've done so much with it in the meantime, right?
Mm-hmm.
But its core concept that they put out the sale was good in its own right. That's the thing, right? And a lot of these early things have a lot of things missing from them, or like they have to change so many things over the course, right? Like a game like Starbound, right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're familiar with Starbound?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't played it, but I'm familiar.
Okay, like it's a pretty good game, right? But it has changed so much since it was in its early days. Like it has completely changed so many aspects of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's a completely different feeling game. And I feel like it has suffered because of that. Like if it came out just clear and crisp as it is right now, I feel like it would have been a better received game, right?
Mm, well, here's the problem. Then we get into the realistics of game development.
Yeah, that's true.
We
We're
get
going too
into
big, aren't we?
possibly. I mean, I'll cap it off with bringing it back to simply a game being discounted on a sale that is in early access. I don't think that's a bad thing because discounting a game is not the sign of a game being dead or a game being hurt or a game being like we need attention because we're losing fans. It's our game is slowing down on the sales side and we want to pick that back up.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I completely agree with that.
and I would say with an early access that's sometimes more okay because with a early access game they might be looking for testers. They might be looking for people to stress test the game. So, for example, if you have an MMO and the MMO is $60 early access, that's kind of absurd to ask, but let's say it is. A game that is $60 for an MMO, and they really, really want people in the game because right now they have 100 people playing and they want to really stress test the game. So
Okay.
they discount the game down to $20, and suddenly they get 1,000 people playing. That did basically what they wanted. They wanted more people playing their game, so that's what they got.
I guess, but couldn't you also do the same thing with the free weekend?
Mm,
I mean, like it just seems like it's something that for a game like that, like you'd be better off like hiring beta testers or like doing a free weekend if you want to do a real test, and if you're confident that you're going that those people are going to stay because it's an interesting enough game, right?
hmm
Like they'd want to pick it up at that point. Nobody's going to leave that beta or whatever it is, right? Being like, oh, I don't want to buy this. They're gonna be like, oh, this is pretty cool. I want to try and check this out when it's really finished, right?
Yeah, but you could also argue that maybe they're doing it because they want like more money to develop with. Like a free weekend is great, but people are playing for free at that point.
Well, yeah,
It
yeah, but I feel like I don't know. It just kind of worries me a bit. I guess I'm not really sure.
I don't blame you at all. Like it is something to somewhat worry about, but
Like I'm always worried. Like if I buy something that's like in that early access state, right? That what is it just going to close down after I throw my money in kind of deal? Like that's the definite thing I feel like with Eternal Crusade. Like I'm not sure if this thing's going to be around even within like 2 months or so, kind of deal, right? Like the thing just kind of seems like kind of not good. At
well,
least that's how the state of the game seems.
I've got a super easy answer for you right now. An incredibly
Oh,
easy answer.
okay.
Don't buy early access games then.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That's
I
fair.
if I mean it's something everyone forgets about with early access games is that they are in development. So at any time they could just die. They could stop development entirely. I
It's the
mean that
same thing with
happened
like
with
Kickstarter,
yeah,
right?
exactly. It don't when you give your money to that project, you have no guarantee of the product that you're asking for. With a finished game, at the very least, you have the somewhat complete product in front of you. Like, I imagine if you bought, what's it called? What were you talking about earlier? Starbound?
Yeah.
If you bought Starbound today, it would be a much different expectation than when you bought it so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's for sure.
So if you bought it now, you at least know the expectations you're gonna get. While in early access, there is a possibility of the game just completely being uprooted and changing.
Which definitely happened.
Yeah. So if that's a genuine concern, don't buy it. I really haven't bought into too many early access games in my life. The ones I bought into, I somewhat regret. Well, no, I regret one of them, and the only other one I can think of, I don't regret. Like, I bought, okay, the two games I've ever bought that were on early access was a game called Prison Architect and a game called Contraption Maker.
Okay.
So, Prison Architect, I love. Prison Architect is great. Prison Architect is basically like a Sim City, Sim Mall, like one of those management games where you just build something and it just happens to be a prison. That's all. No judging.
Okay.
So you build this prison and you make it like as efficient as you can. And when I first bought it, it was feature complete. You could go into free build and build a prison, run it. It had plenty of events, plenty of different modifiers and variables. That building a prison was not a super easy task. It was not like it was not something like, oh man, because it's early access, they're just gonna give me $1 billion money and just let me do whatever I want. Although I did do that a couple of times, but that was my own thing. But long and short of it was, when I played it, everything felt great, and I played it again on release. And I do have to play it more because on release they released a bunch of stuff. But more or less, when I played it in early access and when I played it on release, it stayed the same. It stayed the same, and I generally was happy with the product by the end of it. I was happy with it when I bought it. Now, the other game I bought was Contraption Maker, which I had to look up if it ever came out of early access, because it was in early access for a very long time. Contraption Maker. When you were a kid, did you ever play any of those like Incredible Machine games?
No, I never did.
Okay. Actually, tell you what. Live on the podcast, I'm gifting you a copy of Contraption Maker. You know why?
Why?
Because when you buy the game, you get a free copy for a friend.
Oh, I got a free thing.
I'm setting.
I did it. I did it, Reddit.
But long story short, this game is basically one of those games where you make like a what are those machines called that are like overly complicated things to do things.
Okay.
Okay, we're calling it okay. All right. But
I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna say something after that. I was expecting
Rube Goldberg machines.
Oh yes, that
one of those things
where
where like a domino knocks over a ball, which falls into like a vat of water, which weighs it down on a seesaw to hit like something. It's that in a game form where basically you make this big contraption to do a simple thing. So it's an entire game around that, and it's basically a spiritual successor to those older games that did that.
Okay.
And it sat in early access hell for a very, very, very long time. I remember, like, before the end of last year, looking at the game and being like, is it finished? And I don't believe it was still done by that point. But looking at it now, it is finally finished development. So I can finally go back in and see what's changed. But when I bought it originally, 3 years ago, this game was like, yeah, we'll come out of early access and we'll be great. And I'll be like, all right, cool, I like this game. And then it just sat forever.
I gotcha.
So tell you what, since it's out now, I will play it, and since you now own a copy, you can play it.
And we book club this for next week?
Book club. Especially since I've had this free copy since I bought it 3 years ago. Yay!
Alrighty. That sounds like a thing.
Yeah.
I have a code, and it's in my library now. Yeah, Steam and free games.
It's got a really sassy cat on it. I kind of like the cat. But regardless, yes, cowbell.
Yep, more cowbell.
But I guess my final point is, if you're interested in a game and it goes on sale and it seems a little weird about why it's on sale or anything like that, just do your research. Just look into it. Just see what.
Oh yeah,
what is
we
it.
came to a conclusion. Yeah. Learn, educate yourself. Do the
Edumacation.
smart thing. Be the facts man or woman or thing.
Edumacation.
Edumacation is the root to all happiness and all things that are good.
Is it?
I mean, you may get more depressed. It'll be a circle, right? So here's how it works, right? This is how education works. All right? It's a circle of not knowing things and being sad. Knowing things, then being sad. Learning that you can do things with those things and then being happy, and then learning too many things, right? And being sad again. And then realizing you know nothing and you're at the beginning. See, that's how education works.
Deep.
At least I think. I could be wrong. I'm not really educated.
You got that? You got that reading down yet?
I tell you what, nope.
We don't need any of that.
That book stuff, I tell you what. Not really in my vocabularium.
Now we're just going to devolve into King of the Hill impressions. This is now the King of the Hill impression podcast. I'm going to do Boom
sorry.
Power.
I tell you what, I got now to hear that. No.
All right, never mind. You're a better Boom Power than I am. All right, you called him.
I tell you what, a little bit about boom how I tell you. All right, I'm sorry. I went somewhere and I'm not really sure where I went. I'm back.
Where did you go? Did you take pictures? Did they give you a passport? Did they stamp your passport?
I don't know. I was given a beer, but I didn't really want to drink it.
Okay, so you went to Germany. Got it.
All right, that sounds about right. I think that pretty much wraps things up for today.
I think so too. I think it's a good place to hold.
We're ending on a half high note, so I'll take what I can get.
Half high note. Well, look forward next time to Contraption Maker and how you feel about it.
And also, maybe board games and talking about those. Maybe.
Board games are boarding.
That was just shit. I'll back you up when you're right, but that was no.
Boarding.
All right. I'm gonna go now. Bye, people. It's nice to have you. Have a nice time.
Bye.